Hello, everyone. I would like to start with this big article, which is a developing story in Kyiv Independent. And the author does point out that this is still in progress. So, what is this about? Um, Ukraine has been attracting foreign fighters in a way, like Russia, with the difference that usually when people come to Ukraine to fight on the Ukrainian side, it's not under a false premise. They're told what they're getting themselves into, basically. They're not promised some, imaginary job or training or something. They're basically told, dude, if you're going to sign up, you're going to be in the army, you're going to be in the real war. Are you sure you want to do this? So, among the people who signed up are quite a lot of Brazilian soldiers. And there's now a concern that some of those soldiers are not official Brazilian soldiers, so people from the actual Brazilian army, but people who are linked to South American gangs and drug cartels looking for a way to gain military training, expertise in the use of advanced weapons, and so on and so forth. Yes, it is a huge problem. I want to point out to everybody, though, again, another difference between Russia and Ukraine. Had this been the case in Russia, they would have tried to suppress the story at all costs. This is a Ukrainian source, a reputable Ukrainian source, publishing this article about this very serious issue and asking Ukrainian government and Ukrainian military command, what the fuck are you doing? Do you not understand how damaging this is, both to Brazil and to Ukraine? The article focuses on one specific man uh, by the last name of Pinto and basically traces the history of concerns expressed by his fellow soldiers, Brazilian and Ukrainian, and then the investigation that was done that eventually reached all the way to Brazil and all the way to Brazilian law enforcement to find out that this man allegedly had a criminal history, that he had some links to Brazilian drug gangs. And his fellow soldiers have every right to be concerned because when you're at war, the men and women that are fighting alongside with you have to be rock solid. It have to be people you can rely on, people who basically can make you or break you. Your life depends on their integrity. And so naturally, when this information started coming to light, his fellow soldiers started expressing concern. They have every reason to do so. This is where I said, and the author of the article had admitted that this is a developing story and there's no official data on how many South American soldiers are fighting as part of the Ukrainian military. But it is likely thousands. Thousands have joined over the last 3.5 years. And separate concerns have been raised and complaints have been brought to the attention of Ukrainian military command for some time. The earliest mentioned in this article was reported in July of this year. So let's treat this a developing story, but like I said, yes, this is a multi-level risk to Ukrainian relationship with Brazil, to the reputation of Brazil, and to the reputation of Ukraine. And I mentioned in the past that things like that are essential because Ukrainian military, government, Ukrainian people overall understand they have to keep their nose clean because the double standard is epic. Russia can lie, cheat, steal, whatever, and get away with it. Ukraine runs into any type of doubt, any kind of questionable behavior, and it could lose everything. So I'll be watching the story. There's going to be definitely more to come on the subject. Another story that is being covered across various sources is the start of the mass production of Ukrainian Octopus interceptor drones, which is hugely important, especially following the brutal attacks that had just occurred. So we talked about this before. Is it helpful to have air defense systems like Patriot? Absolutely. 100%. But do we have enough of them? No. Especially considering Russia has been basically carpet bombing over the last multiple weeks and months. So instead of waiting and begging and waiting and begging and waiting and begging, Ukraine has been taking steps to come up with its own solutions. So this is another drone class they had to develop in addition to the other ones. And this one has a specific purpose. This is to strengthen the air defenses. So the production is now on. There's 3 manufacturers in the game right now, 11 more preparing to set up production lines. And the main focus, since you're trying to address the biggest pain points, is for them to intercept the Iranian Shahed drones that Russia has been using a lot. So we'll see how that goes. I hope it helps. I mean, obviously it's not going to bring back people who have already been killed by drones, but hopefully it prevents other deaths. And yes, Zelensky did describe this latest attack as deliberate, calculated, and wicked. I mean, what else can you say? There's not enough adjectives to describe what has happened. One of the buildings damaged was the Azerbaijani embassy in Kyiv. Remember, Kyiv is the capital. So, yes, that's where foreign embassies are. And so this is not the first foreign embassy that has been damaged as the result of Russian attacks. And so Azerbaijan has issued a statement to Russia about this. And here's another point of concern. Russia plans to hike up its manufacturing of glide bombs. And that is another thing that we desperately need to have some type of defense against. There's been another disruption. The oil distribution center in Novorossiysk had shut down. That's about 2% of global supply after it was damaged by Ukrainian missile and drone attacks. And Russia's oil producer Lukoil is basically trying to find somebody to offload their foreign assets to. That is an encouraging sign. They're running. More to come.